Hello everyone, how you all doing? My name is Fernando. The first Q&A, finally. This is going to be the third attempt. I thought it's going to be too easy. I guess it is not. One of the issues is when I was watching myself on the video, I was looking quite often over here on the screen, and I'm going to have to keep looking at the screen because I don't have the camera right there. So I'm going to have to read the questions and then look over here, and it doesn't matter who want to watch me. Anyway, I'm going to put over here in the video in the side some performances in case you want to watch some magic tricks over here in the side while I'm answering some questions so it doesn't get too bored. Now, my English is not the best. It's not my first language actually, it's Spanish. Okay, so my apologies. I'm going to try to add the closed caption so you can also read in case you don't understand what I'm saying. And even my accent in and of itself, it is kind of heavy. So my apologies right there. Anyway, and at the end of this Q&A, I'm going to explain, well, in every Q&A, I'm going to try to explain one of the big illusions people quite often ask me, and this time I will explain the 13, David Copperfield 13 people from the audience vanishing. Okay, so you don't want to know. I mean, that's the point of this channel. So educating people and not just for entertainment of the magicians or in illusionists, but also for the education of the layman. That's why I have this channel. So you don't want to know how 13 people from the audience disappear. I don't want to spoil it for everybody, so I'm gonna tell you ahead of time, right before I start speaking about it. But I happen to know several people that happens to participate in that illusion. So this is not gonna be just a personal idea. Anyway, so let's begin with a Q&A so it doesn't take too long. How long I've been doing magic tricks? Well, I've been doing magic tricks for about maybe 20 years. I don't really count, and in those 20 years I don't really practice illusion in each and every year. It's just that maybe in those 20 years I don't practice that much anyway, so I don't think it really matters for how long I'll be practicing illusions. But if I had to say an average, I would say 20 years. Some people ask, what do I use for my hands in case I perform magic tricks? And I have right over here, this is a hand lotion. Okay, they didn't pay me or anything. I'm just, I'm not really promoting anything. I'm just Golden Touch Lotion. This is what it's called, Golden Touch Lotion. This is not as tacky as I wish it would, but it gives you a nice grip. When you put it on your hand, it doesn't really feel as tacky as your saliva. So people lick their fingers, and I don't recommend people to lick their fingers. This is how much I use. Let me see if I can. Okay, that's it. Not too much. And then I just apply it on the front. I don't apply it in the back because in one of the hand lotions, it actually irritates me in the back of my hand, between fingers. So I don't really recommend you to put it in the back, and you don't need to use the back of the hands anyway, but that's going to be up to you. Well, this is one of the best. I try other ones, but I don't really want to get into each and every one of them in this Q&A. That's the overall product that I really like the most. Okay, so the next question is, how often do I practice magic tricks? I don't really practice that much because I do have a full-time job, but this is a hobby, my second main hobby. My hobby number one is theology. I study a lot of theology, and theology is an inescapable subject when we discuss these kind of issues about magic tricks, because a lot of people, they oftentimes confuse or relate magic tricks to wizard, oracle, witchcraft, white magic, black magic, and that's why I don't really want to use the term magic, even though I put it in most of my video titles, because magic is the most well-known term. So that's why I don't consider myself a magician. I rather call myself an illusionist, because I just do illusions and I guess the terminology is more straightforward. And those are the main questions that a lot of people ask. Also, a lot of people ask me illusions from other magicians, which is okay. There is no problem. You know, I want to discuss how 13 people disappear from the audience. Now, you probably maybe wonder what's the point of explaining illusions that a lot of people, even magicians or laymen, they won't perform. And a lot of those techniques, even if we don't perform those big stage illusions, the principle is the main concept, the main thing that matters, to apply that principle into many other situations. It can be in small tricks as well. So that performance, in this case, Ulises Ondru, it was the illusionist or the magician that I happened to talk, and he participated when David Copperfield went to Mexico. He participated, he was there, and he was outside, because it's not really 13 people, it is 15 people. But 2 of those 15 people happens to be David Copperfield's assistant. And he was outside taking care that nobody goes in and out, so to speaking, but they were actually escaping, which I will explain. I will give you some images. I don't want to get too technical into the light situation, but I did speak with somebody that was present in the TV show, the Tornado of Fire. That person, you search for David Copperfield fans, some of those fans, they happen to be in the TV show, in the live TV show special. This TV show special, even though you see people in the back, a lot of people will assume that he couldn't use that technique because he was people in the back. But actually, because he was people in the back, the main concerns of the magicians is to fool TV audience more than present people. In the Tornado of Fire, it was tricky, according to one of the fans present. It was tricky because between all those camera cuts, it wasn't just one shot. It took several days. And when they finish the performance, they take everybody. That's why it is part of the last performance, because everybody that participate, they take them backstage. And then they talk to them. And Ulises told me that they encouraged not to tell anybody. And Ulises told me in a sarcastic way, who is going to do that? Obviously, they don't do it in public, but they will tell their family members the way they vanish, quote unquote, you know. Now, this is a really old principle, even if the performance it is original from somebody, whoever created, maybe from David Copperfield. The principle in that technique is really old. Okay, so I'm gonna show you some images. In these images, as you can see, it is a compartment coming from the back. In some cases, they use mirrors in those compartments, so it reflects the sides on the wall, so nobody can really see who is going in and out of the special box in the middle of the stage. So that's the same principle that is used with the 13. There is a big compartment in this case. You know, I always like guessing by myself. You may come up with something better or something worse regarding techniques. So I was trying to come up with my own ideas, and I shared those ideas with Ulises, and he asked me how did I know. And I guess because it is an old concept, old principle, and, you know, common sense, they cannot go up, down, or the sides. The only invisible part of that box, it was in the back. So they have to go through the back. You have to disprove a technique that you are actually using, if possible. If not, well, that's fine. But in some cases, I went through myself and trying to disprove in other videos the technique that I actually used. So in this case, they simply just go through the back, around the stage, and then they end up in the back of the audience. And when I was there in the show in the year 2000, I wasn't expecting the audience to appear in the back. So the second time that I went, maybe next year or 2 years later, I was ready, I was expecting, and I was trying to watch. The problem is it was audience in the back, and I don't want to be too distracted, but I really want to watch. So I was trying to take a peek behind me. And then the other guy behind me was also looking in the back, because I guess I was looking to the back. And then we can see, or I can see, how the assistant was putting the 13 people in position before they disappear from the cage. There is one person ready, at least inside the cage. Ulises also happens to see that closer It was one person, at least, controlling those lights. When David Copperfield revealed the cage is empty, the guys, they hide inside at the bottom of the platform. So they all go down and they are concealed at the bottom of it. I'll probably go through more technical issues in other videos. The reason I like the Q&A is I don't have to go through the whole animation process using this character Mr. Boy, which I explain a lot of stuff in great detail. But these Q&As, they are more relaxed. You have any questions about magic trick, about theology, feel free to post the questions, and in the second Q&A, if possible, I'm gonna try to respond all those questions. Any other magic tricks, I'm gonna try to do a quick animation and then explain it as visual as possible. And right before I end up with this video, finally, I have an illusion that I created, and I will explain it in detail for all of you guys. Before I explain the video, or before you watch the tutorial, I always asking people questions, how do you think it is done? And in this case, if you wanna guess, feel free. I really wanna hear your thoughts before you see the tutorial of this performance. You can freeze the shuffle right at that selection and unfreeze it at any moment. That's what I like about this performance. This is not using the frozen waterfall technique. This is a new method that I came across, that you can unfreeze the shuffle as well. That's what I like about this technique. And I hope you have enjoyed this Q&A.